Hey Snacksonistas, I'm Paige, creator of Pack Snacks First, where I share my tips, tricks, and hacks for how to travel with toddlers and little kids. And today I'm talking about Disney with toddlers and how to save money so you don't break the bank. Taking little kids to Disney can be really fun. They love the magic, they still believe in it all, and they're really into it. It's fun as a grown-up and as a parent to see that through their eyes. But it can also be super, super expensive. So let's get into ways that you can maybe save money or be a bit more budget conscious on your next Disney trip with toddlers. My number one hack is to stay on property, to stay at a Disney hotel. I know that might seem counterintuitive. It might seem like it's more expensive, but it's actually not. And here's why. Toddlers don't know the difference between Magic Kingdom, between Epcot, between all of the parks, and between your hotel. So when you stay at a Disney resort, a lot of times the theming and the atmosphere of that resort can mimic the actual park itself. So what your toddler sees when they go to Disney is, wow, their favorite characters, the lights, the stimulation, everything. Even like going on the plane is a really fun experience for them. So using your hotel where you're staying and spending a lot of your time as kind of an extra like bonus park is a way that I'm able to spend fewer days actually at the park and more time enjoying the resort, enjoying those free things or things that you already pay for that are baked into the cost of your stay, which you would have to pay for anyway since you're staying over somewhere. A lot of that over-the-top theming happens at Disney's value resorts. So those cheapest tier resorts, they're still high quality, still nice. You might not get as many amenities. The room might be a little bit smaller, but you do have that over-the-top theming that toddlers love. They have all their favorite characters. They have cool pools to swim in. They have splash pads, even just running around on the sidewalk is really fun. They usually have playgrounds too, which is huge for traveling with toddlers. Getting those wiggles out is a lifesaver, especially when they might be spending a lot of time in the stroller or might be a little bit overstimulated from the parks, from all that's happening with Disney. I really love staying at the value resorts with toddlers. So when you stay on property at a Disney hotel, it's kind of like you're getting a mini park experience without having to actually pay for that park ticket for everyone. Which brings me to number 2. My second tip is to reduce your number of park days. So those park tickets are very expensive. And while kids under 3 are free, your 3-year-old still has to pay for a full ticket. It might be a little bit discounted, but it's still pretty expensive. And those can add up very quickly. So my recommendation with toddlers traveling to Disney is to stay for 4 nights and do 2 park days. And not only is it budget friendly, but it's also very, very useful for your own sanity and your own rest. You need a break. You can't do park day after park day, especially with toddlers. They need a break too. So I highly recommend doing, it might look like this. So Monday, you do your travel day, you come in, you have an early dinner and an early bedtime, and then Tuesday you hit the ground running, you go to one of those 2 parks that you choose, and then that's exhausting enough. Wednesday, then you have another rest day. You can either take one of the free buses to Disney Springs, which is provided to every single Disney resort. You get free transportation to Disney Springs, which is, if you don't know, it's a big shopping area. It's basically like a giant outdoor mall, but there's a lot of that Disney theming and different activities and things. And from Disney Springs, if you're feeling very ambitious with your toddlers, they have free transportation from Disney Springs to every single Disney hotel. So you could, if you wanted to resort hop, you could go to Disney Springs and then take a bus or take transportation to a different resort just to see what it's like. There are plenty of options for you to do a quote unquote rest day. How restful that is to resort hop with your toddlers, I'm not sure. But at the very least, I think you can go over to Disney Springs, have maybe an early dinner or maybe just walk around. But there is still plenty to do. And then that next day, you have another park day. You go to your second park, whatever that may be. And then your last day, your last day, Friday, you travel home. So to me, that is the ideal amount of time for a Disney trip, really any vacation, honestly, with toddlers, because by the end of that time, you are still kind of wanting more. You're not so burnt out on your vacation, but you're still ready to go home. By the end of 4 nights, no matter where I am, I'm ready to go home. If you're having trouble narrowing down which parks you actually want to go to, you might say, you might be tempted to stay for longer just so you can hit all 4 parks. So you can say, oh, we've been to all of them. But I think that's just, I mean, for me, I know that burns me out. I can't do that. I would never want to come back to Disney ever again, which is maybe your goal. If that's the goal, go for it. But for me, I'm going to pick a focus for my trip. So for example, we're taking a trip next year and I have 2 little girls, aged 2 and 3, and they love princesses. So we are going to do a princess focused trip. We're going to Magic Kingdom and Epcot. We're not worrying about Hollywood Studios. We're not worrying about Animal Kingdom this time. We are just focused on those princesses. And now, granted, we will see other characters. They'll be excited about other characters. But having that focus for me helps me kind of narrow down our options and say, okay, this time we might want to do more of our meet and greet options. We might want to do fewer rides. Maybe next time we'll have more of an animal focus, but this time we're doing princesses. We're doing all things princess. So that helps me kind of focus on, because you cannot do it all at Disney. It's called Disney World for a reason. You can't do everything. So it helps to pick a focus, try to hit a few things every day. But just know that in order to have a good, relaxing vacation, semi-relaxing at Disney, you need to scale back probably what you think you're going to be able to do, especially with toddlers. So if your focus might be you have a Toy Story fan or you have a really big animal lover, your park days might look different than ours. But still having that focus in your mind will help you guide your whole trip and make sure that you know what you want to do. And at the end of it, you're happy with everything you got to accomplish and you're okay and you're at peace with the things you didn't get to do or see. So my third tip is all about food, all about snacks, no surprise. So Disney allows you to bring in your own food and your own reusable water bottles. So take advantage of that, especially with kids, especially making sure they're hydrated. It not only saves you money, but it makes sure that you and your kids are keeping your blood sugar even, which helps reduce tantrums. You're making sure that you're staying hydrated and everything, which are all key things that you need anytime, but especially when you're at Disney. I usually kind of try to sneak in a little bit of balance with my snacks when I'm taking them to Disney. So I'll bring, goldfish, regular snacks, Pirate Booty, they're kind of mid-tier snacks. But then I also will bring, cheese sticks, berries, things that kind of keep them regular and keep them, so I try to throw some protein in there too. So we're not riding another roller coaster that has nothing to do with Disney. And you can order grocery delivery at the beginning of your stay, which I highly recommend doing for snacks, but also for little toddler comfort meals. So if your kid loves peanut butter sandwiches, get a jar of peanut butter and some, white bread or whatever kind of bread you eat. That is both are shelf stable and easy to make if your kid didn't like dinner. If you get back to your room for a midday break and all of a sudden they're starving and you don't want to go all the way back to quick service or something to get them French fries. Sometimes they get sick of French fries. It's hard to believe, but we all just want kind of a comfort meal at some time. And I think especially when you're traveling, especially with toddlers, they just need a little something to keep them going. And usually if you have those familiar foods, it can help a ton. Go-tos are Cheerios and milk. We like to have those little Easy Mac cups, which also, if you're staying at a value resort, you will have access to a microwave in the quick service restaurant, but you won't have one in your room. So make sure you know that. And also one other tip for most resorts, I think almost all of the hotels now, not all of them, but a lot of those value resorts are now moving to beverage coolers instead of true mini fridges. So they get a little bit warmer than regular mini fridges. So if that weirds you out, just go for the shelf stable foods and you should be good to go. If you're looking to save money, you probably already know this, but those quick service restaurants are going to be your best friend. You can mobile order, not only just for saving money, but for toddlers. I don't really like to have my toddlers sit at a table service restaurant anyway. They're already sitting in the stroller. That's the last thing any of us needs. So we just tend to do quick service. You can, again, mobile order ahead, pick your food up. And a lot of times, even the kids' meals are kind of large. And sometimes my toddlers only want to eat the fries anyway. So I just let them share our food. And then we rely on the bulk of our nutrients from snacks and then our whatever our comfort meals are that we decided to order. My last tip is to watch out for add-ons. So this could be anything from your preferred room upcharge, so preferred location, to those magic bands, to even lightning lanes. You don't need those. I will say, if you're trying to do Disney on a budget, lightning lanes are great, but you don't need them. You can still have a fun time without them, especially with toddlers. It's like they'll be happy just walking around the park. You can try your best to stay in as many lines as you want, but at the end of the day, like when they're done, they're done. So don't try to push it. Just try to make sure that everyone's having a good experience, because what they'll remember more than the ride they went on is going to be how mom and dad felt. If you were feeling stressed out, they're going to feel that too. So just try your best to all relax as much as you can. You don't need to stress too much over the planning. Have a light plan, but don't go crazy. To avoid add-ons, one of my bigger tips is to just be prepared. So some of the things you can avoid are your kid getting dirty or peeing themselves, or, getting wet at one of the many water-based things around the park. So bring extra changes of clothes, bring snacks, be prepared. That's really the best way you can avoid those, having to buy clothes at the gift shop, or having to just buy something you don't really want, is to just prepare as much as you can, but also recognize that, some things are out of your hands. Souvenirs, you can easily spend a lot of money, especially with toddlers. Disney knows how to make you impulse buy, and toddlers are the biggest impulse buyers. Some people like to give each kid a Disney gift card at the beginning of a trip with like a specific amount on it. I find that my toddlers are a little too young for this. They don't really get that. And also, I don't love that because I don't like leaving money on the table. And I feel like with a gift card, you either spend more than the gift card and then you have to make up the difference anyway, or you leave like $1 on the card. And I'm just like, I'd rather not do that. Something that helps my toddlers to budget, at least for souvenirs, is telling them that they can have one item. They can get one souvenir, and we're not buying it until the last day. So they don't buy something the first day and then say, oh no, I really wanted this stuffed animal on the second day. We're buying it on the last day. If you want something in a gift shop, we'll take a picture so you can remember it, just in case you were going to forget, which they won't. But then the last day, we try to go to Disney Springs, go to World of Disney. They have everything there you could ever need. When that happens, they can buy their souvenir. They're all happy. It gives them something to remember when you go home. When you're on the plane, it makes it a travel day a little bit less sad. But it also prevents them from wanting to buy. Well, they'll still want to buy everything, but it prevents them from actually trying to buy every single thing in every single gift shop. These are just some of my tips. If you have more, if you like these, let me know in the comments. But thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.